What's going on, guys? Horse Beef here, bringing you another tier list video today. I have the best chins in the UFC, past and present, and I have a wide range of fighters here to rank, and I believe that I have represented the wide spectrum of chins within the UFC. So let's get into it. First off, we have an iron chin in Brian Ortega, absolute giga chin, eats damage like it's nothing, keeps walking forward. Never out of a fight because of that Mexican chin of his. He, I think, deserves to be up there. Dan Henderson, I think, deserves to be in the same spot. One of the best chins I've ever seen. And he was fighting guys that could punch and just eating shots. I know he did eventually get finished. I believe Vitor Belfort head kick, if I remember correctly. And he was finished a couple of times. But at his age, when he was being finished, you can excuse the guy. And I don't think it takes away from his chin. And that will be a theme in this list here. Like, if there's an older guy who was finished later in his career but had an iron chin earlier on when they were more in their prime, that is more of what I'm considering here, the prime years, if we're talking about past UFC fighters. Tony Ferguson, I think he deserves to be an A tier. Even considering recently, I know he was knocked out by Michael Chandler. Honestly, I don't know a single person on this planet who wouldn't have been knocked out cold by that front kick up the middle. Landed about as perfectly on the chin with the ball of the foot as you could ever expect a front kick to land. And it was Michael Chandler. He's just a ball of explosiveness. Of course he was going to knock Tony out with that. And I don't even know if the Justin Gaethje fight takes away from his chin. If anything, it strengthens the case for him to go an iron chin. But he has been hurt and dropped. Even before that Gaethje fight, he was dropped against Pettis, dropped against Lando Venata, if I remember correctly. So the thing is that his chin is great. It isn't top tier, but his recovery would be top tier. But it's not the chin that I put at the very, very top. But A tier, I think, is deserving. Same thing goes for Brandon Moreno. Just the fact that he's been hurt and he's a flyweight. He's been hurt multiple times, dropped multiple times. I know he was fighting guys like Davison Figueiredo and Pantoja, but he got hurt by them. Same thing goes for Tony Ferguson. The chin is excellent, but the recovery is elite, and that is what makes him so tough, for me at least. But yeah, I think Brandon Moreno deserves to be in A. Benoit Saint-Denis, I think he is a solid B when it comes to his chin. I guess there is no shame in getting knocked out cold by Dustin Poirier. And also it was either his first or second fight in the UFC where he fought Zaleski Dos Santos, if I said his name correctly. I don't know if his first name is Zaleski, but I'm pretty sure it is. But BSD hurt in that fight multiple times. He essentially went the whole fight on wobbly legs. So same situation with Moreno and Ferguson. The toughness and the grit does make up for the lack of chin at times, but I just can't put BSD above B. Michael Chandler, he can't quite be a no chin. I know there are some jokes made about his chin. I don't know if he's as chinny as some people say. He did go to war with Gaethje and survived the full 3 rounds, so that's good in his case. But then he got knocked out by Oliveira and dropped by Poirier, hurt by Poirier a few times. It just seems like if you connect clean on Chandler's chin, he gets hurt. So it's hard to put him above C. I'm keeping him there. Dricus du Plessis. He does appear to have a great chin. I've never even really seen him in danger, but I would have to see him against somebody like an Alex Pereira, which we'll never see, an Izzy, Jared Cannonier, Paulo Costa, somebody who packs power. Actually, Paulo Costa doesn't even really pack much power in his hands. But I want to see him against somebody who can really test that chin. Sean Strickland's not the type of guy to test the chin at the top level. Let's see as Dricus' career goes on. He might even make it into iron chin, but from what I've seen so far, he takes shots very well. I think Dricus is worthy of A tier. Nick Diaz, iron chin, goes without saying. He was finished against Robbie Lawler in their most recent fight, but that was down to him just not wanting to be there anymore and being out of shape and way out of his prime and old. But it goes without saying, the Diaz brothers are, of course, going to be an iron chin. Paulo Costa, I'm going to put in A tier as well. He takes shots very well. I've seen him take very, very flush shots. Even that fighting against Robert Whittaker, he did take a head kick off him. Was getting popped with straight shots, like crazy shots, just getting absolutely peppered with. I know he got knocked out against Israel Adesanya, but he was drunk off that red wine, man, so you can't take it away from him. A tier for Paulo Costa. Cody Garbrandt, I can't quite put him in James Vick, but no chin. No chin, absolutely. It's suspect. I know he did pretty well against Figgy in that opening round. The last couple fights, he hasn't looked quite so chinny, but he's also not fighting high-level competition that are really able to find his chin. I know Figgy is a high-level competition, but I thought we didn't really get to see those scenarios where his chin was tested against Figgy because he was so much faster than Figgy was. But it goes without saying, Garbrandt's chin's bad. It's been bad, and it's not like magically going to get better out of nowhere. So yeah, no chin for Cody Garbrandt. BJ Penn, I think he was an iron chin, finished at the later parts of his career. But in his prime BJ Penn, nothing can hurt this guy. He was an absolute juggernaut. Kevin Holland, he's up there too. I think the only thing that I've seen put Kevin Holland in severe danger was when he ate that headbutt. Other than that, I've never really seen him in significant danger. He kind of deserves to go an iron chin. Kevin Holland has such a crazy chin, and consider how many high level guys he's fought in recent years, and never really looked in too much danger, except for when he ate an illegal headbutt, and that headbutt would have put pretty much anybody out. It was clean to his chin. He went down and still recovered like right away. Didn't even go out cold. Crazy shit. Kevin Holland's got a crazy chin. Another iron chin here goes without explanation, man. Chito Vera. I mean, you saw the Sean O'Malley fight, I assume. You saw that knee he ate. You saw him getting peppered, his face absolutely obliterated and still coming forward. I mean, I guess saying he's coming forward is an overstatement because Chito Vera seems to not want to come forward despite him being such a juggernaut, right? If he took a note out of Pantoja's book, use that chin and just be a juggernaut, walk through damage, and walk through your opponents. I don't know why. I don't know why Chito decides to fight so passively when he's so tough and so good at wearing damage. Makes no sense. But when it comes to his chin, it's up there, man. Like, what if this was on a spectrum here? You might even put Chito at the very top. He might have the GOAT chin, or he's up there at least top 3 for me. Peter Yan, whoo, that's a good chin, man. A tier. He was hurt against Sean O'Malley. We haven't really seen him wobble. He got dropped by Dodson. It was more the speed of Dodson that stifled him in that moment, I would say. But Peter Yan, I think, deserves to be an A tier. Haven't seen him hurt on too many occasions, and really never close to being finished on any occasion from what I've seen. Israel Adesanya, you know what? I'm not a big fan of Israel Adesanya. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that before. Not a big fan of the guy, but he does deserve to be an A tier. Drop by Sean Strickland, sure, but I've never seen somebody, maybe besides Bruno Silva, take left hooks from Alex Pereira the way that Izzy has. So you really can't write off his chin. Izzy has an excellent chin. John Jones is an iron chin 100%. We've never seen him hurt, never seen him on wobbly legs, never seen him in genuine danger ever before. So there's no other place to put John Jones other than iron chin. It goes without explanation. Marvin Vettori, he's one of the top 3 best chins I've ever seen. That fight against Jared Cannonier is all I needed to see. Jared was a heavyweight and carries heavyweight power in his hands, was absolutely bombing Vettori with everything he had for the entirety of that fight. 5-rounder, I believe. And Vettori ate everything. I could not believe it. It was that fight is probably one of the greatest displays of a chin I've ever seen. But he hasn't just shown it in that one fight. He's shown it in all of his fights because he's a kind of a dumb fighter and gets hit a lot and never looks hurt. It's ridiculous. Nate Diaz, lots of iron chins on this list, but I mean, he deserves it, right? Even in his most recent fight against Jake Paul. Jake Paul does hit like a truck and was bigger than Nate. And Nate, he ate it all. He ate it all. He ate the onslaughts. I mean, is there an argument that the Diaz brothers both shouldn't be an iron chin? I don't think so. And then another iron chin in Alexander Pantoja. What is going on here? Pantoja, iron chin. There's no other location that makes any sense for him. His chin makes zero sense. He was walking through everything against Steve Erceg. He fights like a juggernaut. I don't know why people like slag him off and say that he's a boring champion. His style is that of a high pace, and he puts himself in so much danger. I don't know how anyone can call Pantoja boring, but nobody can take away from how tough this individual is. He really just puts his chin on a platter for guys, and eats everything for fun. It's crazy. He needs to be studied. Pedro Munoz, yeah, man, he almost deserves to be in the same spot here, doesn't he? I think so. He deserves to be in the same spot. Iron Chin, never really seen him hurt up to this point. Yeah, I would say Iron Chin makes sense for him. Justin Gaethje, he has been finished, but he is so tough. He is so tough. And if I have guys like Paulo Costa, Tony Ferguson, Izzy here, Peter Yan, I think Gaethje does deserve to be up there. I wouldn't take away from his chin the fact that he got knocked out by Max Holloway. He put himself in such risk there. Yeah, he's such a tough guy. And he does, and just look, every fight he's ever been in has been a war to an extent, maybe besides the James Vick fight. So of course Gaethje's going to be knocked out at some point. But it's a testament to his chin over time. Even with all the deterioration, he's still able to eat shots the way he eats shots. A tier at the very least. Diego Sanchez, it's hard to say. I do think he deserves to be an A tier if you're considering prime Diego Sanchez. Arguably even S tier if we're talking about prime Diego Sanchez. But I'm going to put him in A tier. Blagoy, whatever. Blagoy Ivanov is that his name? Blagoy Ivanov? I don't know. But he looks like some random 55-year-old Russian dude that you'd run into. I don't know. He just looks like an everyday dude. And he eats shots like it's nothing. He's never been finished. And he's a heavyweight. And he's fought guys like Derek Lewis. And went to decision with guys like Derek Lewis. Blagoy Ivanov is unfinishable, I think. And that puts him close to the very tippy top of the chins, just considering that he's a heavyweight. He is a heavyweight, and he eats shots the way he eats shots. We're going to have to scroll down, and this list might get a little messy now because these tiers are filling up a little bit. But yeah, let's scroll down and get into Alex Pereira here. I think he deserves to be in B tier. He is taking shots better at 205, and he was knocked out by Izzy, which is why I can't put him in A tier, but he does take shots well. And historically, throughout his career, he hasn't been finished many times. Even now, getting into his mid-30s, hasn't seemed to deteriorate. If anything, his chin has leveled up. So after the Izzy fight, maybe I would have put him in C tier, but after seeing his 205 run, I think B tier is fair for him. Carlos Condit, Iron Chin, in his time, nobody could really hurt the guy. He's fought absolute bombers like Robbie Lawler. He's been hurt by them, but never finished. And he was finished via leg kick, though, by Tyron Woodley, if I remember correctly. And there was a moment when he fought Dan Hardy where they both exchanged left hooks that they loaded up on completely. Carlos eats Dan Hardy's left hook clean, eats it. He lands his left hook, puts Dan Hardy down. Condit's chin is made out of some different stuff, and I think he belongs in Iron Chin. Yoel Romero, he's also up there. I also have I've never even seen him really hurt, but he has been knocked out in the past. I think maybe it's maybe his neck that should be ranked all the way at the top, because his neck doesn't seem to allow him to have his head snap back when he gets punched. I'll put Yoel Romero in A tier. Corey Sandhagen, I think A tier as well. Ate a clean spinning back fist from Peter Yan that would have put a lot of guys out. He took it, got dropped by it, recovered well. He doesn't ever seem to be in much danger, even when he takes clean shots. I think he was hurt against Song Yadong, but for the most part, we've seen him relatively unaffected by many shots, and he's fought some guys that can slug. Like they can throw heat. TJ Dillashaw, Peter Yan, Song Yadong, Chito Vera, and looked relatively fine during those fights. Even in situations where he was dropped or put in dangerous positions, he never seems to be close to being finished. Mark Hunt, based off the fact that he's a heavyweight, same thing with Blagoy Ivanov. Mark Hunt, in his prime, this dude would slug it out. I recommend watching his fight against Bigfoot Silva. If you've never seen that one, it's an absolute classic, an underrated fight. And I will be doing, by the way, guys, I will be doing a tier list for the greatest UFC fights of all time. So look forward to that one. And God knows that Mark Hunt and Bigfoot Silva will be included in that list. What a scrap that was. And he showed his chin off in that one. Heavyweights in general hit like trucks. You can't really get past that. If you're at heavyweight, and you can eat shots the way that guys like Mark Hunt and Ivanov eat shots, you have to put them in the Iron Chin section. Dustin Poirier, I'm going to put him in A tier. At 145, he would have been down here somewhere. And I know he was knocked up by Michael Johnson at 155 and by Justin Gaethje. But I think same argument as with Gaethje, he's been in so many wars, so it's a matter of time that he's finished at some point. But to be at this stage in his career after the wars that he's been through, to still take damage the way he's able to take damage and eat shots the way he's able to eat shots, for sure he has to be an A tier at the very least. Ian Gary, we haven't seen him eat too many shots, but we did see him dropped, and I don't necessarily like the guy, so I kind of want to put him in C tier. I don't think he can eat shots. I do think he is a low-risk type of fighter because he knows that he can't eat shots like some of these guys can. And I just assume that any fighter who fights off the back foot is scared to get chinned because they know they can't eat shots. But then again, Izzy can eat shots and he fights off the back foot. I just don't like Ian Gary. Okay, so let's just put him at C tier and move on. Okay, Robert Whittaker, weird chin because some people would describe him as chinny. I actually consider him to be in a similar place to that of Chandler. In fact, I will put him in C tier because I think that Robert Whittaker, his recovery is top tier, but his chin is just too suspect. You can clip him and wobble him, but then he recovers. So the chin itself is not great, but the recoverability is top tier. JDM, I'm not going to put him in in Iron Chin yet because we haven't really seen him get bombed many times. Like we haven't seen him put in those positions where he's really had to show much of a chin, but when he has had to show a chin, he's shown quite a top tier chin. So I'm going to put him in A tier. Eventually, I can see him being known as a guy with an iron chin. Dan Hooker, he arguably deserves to go up in iron chin just because of the head kick he ate against Jalen Turner. So I'm actually going to put him in A tier, an iron chin. I don't really care that he got knocked out by Chandler. Chandler's really capable of knocking out anybody with the explosiveness that he has. But post the Chandler fight, we've seen Dan Hooker get absolutely beat on. Even just think about his fight against Edson Barbosa. He was getting beat up so badly. And, Barbosa had to finish him with body shots because you just cannot take this man out with headshots. Unless your name is Michael Chandler, of course. But yeah, that head kick off Jalen Turner, one of the cleanest shots I've ever seen anybody eat and stay awake. So iron chin for Dan Hooker. Kelvin Gastelum up there as well, but I have seen him hurt now a few times. He does arguably deserve to go in iron chin though, but he's finished, or not finished by Izzy, but hurt by Izzy, hurt by Whittaker, if I remember correctly. Was he even hurt by Whittaker? I don't know. I know he ate a head kick. So if he ate that, then maybe he should be an iron chin. I could put it down to the amount of wars he's been in. Nah, I still do think that Kelvin Gastelum deserves to be an iron chin. He fought Jared Cannonier, didn't he? And took bombs off Jared Cannonier. Yeah, man, iron chin, 100%. Volkanovski, I don't want to put him low, but at this point, he got finished 2 times in a row by elite competition. The elite of the elite. And have we seen him hurt in the past? I guess we have. I don't know. He does have a good chin, but I think C tier is where he belongs. After getting finished twice like that, there's no way his chin can get better, right? So C tier, I think, is fair for him. Hamzat Chimaev, I think he has a great chin. Was dropped by Gilbert Burns, though. He was dropped by him. He seemed pretty hurt by Usman at times, but he does take shots well, I will admit. Even though physically, remove that beard and he has literally no chin. Like, genuinely, he does not have a chin. But he takes shots well. So A tier for him. This one goes without explanation. Max Holloway goes into iron chin, one of the greatest chins of all time, arguably the greatest chin of all time, considering he has absorbed the most amount of strikes of any fighter in UFC history. I don't have to go much deeper into it. Max Holloway has an iron chin. Sean Strickland, we've seen him hurt. Does it necessarily mean somebody has a poor chin because they get chinned by Alex Pereira's left hook? No. We have seen him hurt before. recovers quite well though. I think his ability to not get finished is more down to his defense being top tier. But I'll put him in B tier. I think B tier for Sean Strickland makes sense. Roy Nelson, another heavyweight with a great chin, but he was knocked out by Mark Hunt, I believe. So I'll put Roy Nelson in A tier, but he is pushing Iron Chin, but he just can't be up there with Mark Hunt and Blagoy Ivanov. Shavkat Rakhmonov, another A tier chin. He's shown to have an excellent chin. Like, watch this fight against Jeff Neal, and you'll see Jeff Neal hits like a truck, and he got sniped with one of Neal's left hands on the chin multiple times during that fight. Ate it, kept moving forward. Shavkat has a serious chin, but once we see him, maybe against JDM, we'll see his chin tested even further, and both of those guys can move up into Iron Chin sometime in the future. Drew Dober, we've seen him hurt now, man. He recovers so well. I think even though he has, like, physically, like, aesthetically, he has the greatest chin in the business. Nobody has a chin like Drew Dober, or even like a jawline like Drew Dober. But finished by Frivola, hurt by Terrence McKinney. It's hard to put him in Iron Chin now because he's shown that deteriorating chin. And he's in his mid-30s now, which is crazy to think about. But Drew Dober pushing Iron Chin, but I think he belongs in A. Song Yadong, another maybe A-tier chin. Never really seen Song in much danger, and he has fought some serious competition. So I'll put him in A-tier. Johnny Walker, no chin. He is pushing the James Vick rank, honestly, but I'm going to put him here with Cody Garbrandt. They're essentially the same fighter, but in different weight classes, these two. Absolute powerhouses, but glass cannons all around. Marlon Moraes, another one who pushes the James Vick category. Honestly, he might even have he has a worse chin than Garbrandt for sure. But it is harsh though. It was just a combination of being finished one or two times in a row, and then it was like a snowball effect. And suddenly Marlon Moraes could no longer take any damage. But I think the only one who's worthy of being in James Vick is James Vick himself. If you're not aware of his legacy, I recommend looking into James Vick. Quite the chin on that lad, I would say. Alistair Overeem never had much of a chin, especially when he came to the UFC, and especially after he was off of his horse meat diet. And he's a big dude, and he fought at heavyweight, so it's hard. So I think it'd actually be unfair to put him in no chin because he was getting knocked out by big dudes. So I'm going to put him in C tier. I think he deserves to be above these three and the legend James Vick. Luke Rockhold, another one whose chin just went to absolute shit after one finish. Maybe he never had a chin to begin with, but no chin is where he belongs. Are you guys going to argue with me on that? I wouldn't. Phil Haas, absolute glass cannon. He almost deserves to be in James Vick. I might put Phil Haas in James Vick, but for the sake of the joke, James Vick will stay in James Vick, and he will remain the only one in that section. So Phil Haas will go into no chin. Yuri Prohazka, he's now been hurt. He's now been finished. But he eats shots so well, and he literally puts his chin on a platter for guys to throw bombs at him. And he either gets clipped or he narrowly avoids the strike. He just stays in the fire. So when he gets hurt, I don't really blame him. But we've seen him stunned. He was stunned by Glover Teixeira. He was stunned by Ozdemir in his debut. He was hurt by Dominic Reyes on multiple occasions. But he's so mentally tough. If this was like the mental toughness tier list, he's honestly in a tier of his own at the very, very top, above anybody else. But as far as chins go, it's going to be A tier for me. Jimmy Manawa, he had everything but a chin. But there was a certain point where he could no longer get by with his explosiveness and his physical attributes because he was getting knocked out far too frequently. Jimmy Manawa, I am a fan of the guy. Honestly, when he was fighting in the UFC, he was one of my favorite guys at 205 to watch. It's a shame about his chin, though. It really is. Vicente Luque, there was a point where he was all the way up here, but now he's been finished a couple of times, been hurt a couple of times. I still think I don't know, man. He arguably deserves to be in C tier just because I don't want to see him absorb shots anymore with the apparent brain bleed that he had after the Jeff Neal fight. But I don't think that his chin is completely deteriorated to the point where we can put him low down. I think it would be unfair. You know what? To consider his prime and his recent performances, I will take the average of both of those and put him in B tier. Brendan Schaub, no chin. He fought at heavier weight class though, so that's why I will refrain from putting him in James Vick. But it seemed like a little breeze on the chin was enough to knock him out, so he stays in no chin. Rob Font, he gets hurt far too often to put him anywhere but C, but he recovers so well that I can't put him in no chin. But he gets hurt so frequently. Got hurt every round against Jose Aldo. He got hurt pretty much every round against Chito Vera. So he doesn't take shots well, but he deals with the damage well. He really does. So I'll put Rob Font in C tier. Charles Oliveira, I think C tier as well. It's really hard to say whether he has a good chin or a bad chin because of the fact that he pulls guard or drops to his back every time he eats a clean shot. Based off that, the optics of that, I'll put him in C. Anthony Smith, weird fighter to judge because he shows a good chin at times, but then other times he seems to get wobbled by everything. But he is a 205er. Got knocked out by Cleo Roundtree last time out. To be fair to him, maybe he does deserve to go in B tier, Anthony Smith. Maybe he does. Yair Rodriguez, good chin, knocked up by Volkanovski. He's been hurt. He has taken beatings and stayed in the fight. But I think B tier is also fair for Yair Rodriguez. Edson Barbosa, it's the one thing about his game that he is missing, honestly. He's physically tough. He's a very tough guy. He's never out of a fight. But chin by Justin Gaethje, hurt by Sadiq Youssef in that first round multiple times. The chin doesn't exactly do him favors, but he's a tough dude, and he's such a veteran. He's very crafty, and he's able to stay in those fights even when he's hurt, but the chin itself is not great, so C tier is where Edson has to be. Merab Dvalishvili, hurt a few times. His recoverability is up there, but he got hurt with the same strike against Cejudo as he did against Marlon Moraes, that same left hook. He's very susceptible to it, but even when he gets clipped clean, even if he's on wobbly legs for a moment, he seems to be fine the next second, smiling and bouncing up and down. He's a wild man, so I'm going to put him in A tier. Because Marlon Moraes, at that time, or just in general, Marlon Moraes hits like a truck. He's one of the hardest hitters to ever compete at 135. He really is. So to get hurt that bad against Marlon with a clean left hook that he landed, and to still survive and then get the finish yourself, you cannot have a bad chin. So Merab Dvalishvili, worthy of being an A tier. And last but not least, Calvin Kattar, another A tier fighter, pushing Iron Chin, to be honest. Actually, when I think about Iron Chins, the beating that he took against Max Holloway while staying on his feet, and the bombs that he took off of Josh Emmett, even if nothing was landing too clean, Josh Emmett still hits like a damn truck. And Kattar never took a back step, really. I mean, he took a back step, but he never looked to be in danger. Honestly, you say what you want about Kattar. As a fighter, you might not really rate him as a fighter, but when it comes to his chin, it's hard to deny that he is up there. Really, he really is. Think about it, man. Calvin Kattar, excellent chin, iron chin in my opinion. And yeah, that's the list, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I will scroll down so you can have a more wide idea of where I ranked each individual. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the video, where you would rank each individual, whether you think I'm wrong, you think I'm right, whatever it may be. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to cover next, let me know in the comment section below for that as well. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and have a good one.